Happy New Year, everyone. 2023. Welcome back to Pig's Ear Interview here at the Tojo Dojo. I'm Myshtuff. I'm joined by Riku Rose. How you doing?
I'm good, man. You?
Pretty good, pretty good. We've been talking about all sorts of fun movies that we've been watching over the last however many months now, especially the last couple weeks. There's been a lot of good ones, and I'm excited to say we're going to go over our top 3 favorite movies of 2022 that I just compiled about 8 seconds ago. So
Yeah, I kind of put you on the spot a little.
it's all good. It's all good. I knew for sure one of them was going to be on this list. The others were it took me a second to think of, but hopefully this will be a good list to recommend for people. I think we've definitely talked about, at least for mine, the ones that we're going to talk about. We've talked about before, so they haven't been ones we haven't talked about. I think, but it's going to be good. So, but before we move on, make sure to like and comment and subscribe here for more fun game and movie discussions on here.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then also I'll throw in a few more honorable mentions, just like we did with our games top 3. So if you haven't watched that one, make sure to check it out from the last or the one before that we did. But yeah, all right, since we're going to talk about a bunch of them, let's just get right into it then. I'll throw it over to you to start us off.
So my number 3, at the time I was not the most glowing about it, is Top Gun Maverick.
That's my number 3.
That's your...
Yes, that's my number 3. All right, perfect. All right, we're aligned.
Okay, so my issue is more like Tom Cruise, and I don't want to like him.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but it was just a fun movie. It's not peak cinema, but it's dumb fun.
Yeah, because when we talked about it on the show, I hadn't watched it yet, and I was kind of on not on the fence of like I don't want to watch it, but I think I had said like the original movie, it's one of those movies that's like one of those '90s classics that I'm like, yeah, I've seen it before, but it's not something that I ever care to rewatch or anything. I'm not typically into that kind of movie, but then the way you were describing it, and obviously it got $1 bajillion and everyone's raving about it, I'm like, all right, I'll probably just check it out at some point.
Yeah, it was just really fun. Like every scene was shot well. Like you were in on the action. Now I've talked about how like I don't care in Marvel movies now when they start throwing punches and your eyes glaze over and you're just like, okay, wake me up when like they're talking again.
Right.
And that I didn't feel like with this. Like the action, every part you were in on. Like, and you know they're going to do okay because it's a fucking Tom Cruise movie at the end of the day. But it's like very tense and edge of your seat type stuff as well.
Yeah, but like but typically the summer blockbusters as well. Not that they're bad by any means, but it's a lot of the same type of stuff. And it's like, yeah, to your point, you kind of glaze over it. But this movie, I was just smiling the whole time. I'm like, this movie, to your point, is just dumb, stupid fun. And it was a good time to watch. Like, I just never in a million years would I thought, like, man, I need another Top Gun. But the way this came out, I'm like, I'm not saying I need another one either, but this was as good as you could do it, I would think.
Yeah. It was one of those sort of, we're in the era of reboot and soft reboots. And it was one that you actually came out of going, yeah, that was good fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I'm glad they brought that back, that they did that. And as you just said, it's not one of those ones that say 10 years ago when the era of reboot started, you would have been like, we got to get another Top Gun.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Do you want to? I was going to say something about a certain character's appearance, but I guess it's a spoiler. I don't know if we want to talk about that or not.
We can beat around the bush.
All right. There is one character from the original that well, there's several, I would say, characters that appear, or at least a few from the original. The one in particular definitely got me, as I'm a fan of that particular actor. And he's only in the movie briefly, but I'm assuming you know who I'm talking about. He appears in the movie, and I was like, all right, that got me. And that was good to see him again. But
they know the heartstrings to pull at.
Yeah, it was like perfectly executed, like the whole way through. And actually, sorry, something else I found out recently, or maybe we talked about it. I can't remember. Since we were just talking about Tron right before this as well, because I was saying how I'm watching Tron Uprising on Disney Plus in preparation for the new coaster opening and potential movie. The director of Top Gun Maverick was the guy who directed Tron Legacy. Did you know that?
I didn't actually know that. No, that
Yeah.
explains a lot because I really like Tron Legacy.
Yeah, it's the same director. I didn't realize that until recently. I'm like, huh, okay, I can understand this now. I'm starting to
I'm
like
now
it.
interested in whatever this guy makes next because he's
Yeah,
obviously making movies I like,
yeah. I can't
and both
remember
of
what
them are
else
just
he's done. Hmm.
yeah, they're just blockbuster fun. Like
Yeah, exactly. They're just fun, weird movies. So yeah, I'll have to look up what else he's done. But that, since I just happened to be looking up Tron recently, I saw that. But yeah, yeah, exactly. It's just a fun movie. I think it perfectly complements the first one, and it's just yeah, it's great. John Hamm was great in it too. It was funny to see him. It's so weird because like I look at John Hamm, and for some reason I think he's older than Tom Cruise, but he's
yeah,
not.
he's
He's
not.
young. He's younger, but he has that like that stature aura about him a little bit. Probably because of Mad Men, I suppose. But yeah, it was fun. I had a good time watching it. So yeah, I'm glad we both said this was our number three. Not planned. I
That
swear.
one I was a bit all over the show about. I weren't sure whether to put it in at number 3 or not, but yeah,
Mm,
I'm kind of glad I did.
yeah.
Should I go straight into number 2 then,
Yeah, yeah,
or do you
yeah.
want?
That was my number three as well. So definitely check it out. I think it's actually on Paramount Plus now as well, which is nice. So if you haven't seen it, check it out on there. But yeah, I'll throw it right back to you again.
Okay, so my number 2 is the Banshees of Inisherin.
Have not seen that one.
No, I only watched it around Christmas time.
Okay.
I just had like a couple of hours. Like my wife went out, and I was going to pick her and her friend up. So I had
Hmm.
like 3 hours to myself. It just appeared on HBO Max, and it was like one of those movies that's getting like touted for awards all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've even heard about it,
Hmm.
but it's Colin Farrell and Brandon Gleeson, I think is his name,
Okay.
and they live. This is like say 100 years ago off the main island of Ireland. So they live
Okay.
on this tiny little island, and they're just two friends who go drinking like every evening at the
Hmm.
local pub. And just one day, Brandon Gleeson just decides he doesn't like Colin Farrell anymore. Like he's like,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah, but that's the plot of the movie. Is he's like, I find you boring. He's
All
like,
right.
I don't want to waste my time just chatting to you. It's mindless, boring. I can't be bothered with it anymore. I just want to be left alone.
Interesting.
And we see a lot of like rom-coms and stuff like that about breakups
Yeah.
of like men and women and things like that.
Hmm.
This is the first movie I can really think of just off the top of my head that's about like friendships breaking up.
Interesting. Yeah. Hmm.
And I think everyone for the most part has had a friendship that's broken up.
Yeah, for sure.
And it gets fucking dark. Like not like
Hmm.
dark in like a messed up horror movie, but just depressing.
Depressing. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, and the director he's made a few movies that people might know, like Seven Psychopaths and is it in Bruges or something like that. I've never
I've heard
seen
of
any of.
those, but yeah.
Yeah, I've never
Mhm.
seen them, but I know they're like well received and everything.
Yeah.
But it is just you see a guy like slowly just losing it about like what did I do? What did I? You didn't do anything. I just don't like you. Like what the
Yeah.
fuck? You know, and it
But I
doesn't
mean,
take.
it doesn't come off as funny though, right? I'm assuming, right?
It actually, a movie I'll compare it to is the original Fargo
Okay.
because you've seen that, right?
A long time ago. It's been a while, but yeah.
But you know how it's got that like quirkiness about small town middle America. This has that
Yeah.
quirkiness about small town Ireland.
Okay.
So people be like, "Oh, why aren't you in the pub with like Colin?" He's like,
Hmm.
"He's not talking to me. Are you rowing? I don't think we're rowing. Like, sounds like you're rowing. Like you
It's
know."
like rumors flying around a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's
Yeah.
just like everyone has their own little quirks, and everyone's a little small-minded, like small
Sure.
city, small-minded type thing. And it's just quaint, and it's I can't remember the actress's name, but she plays Colin Farrell's sister,
Hmm.
and she is amazing in this. She
Okay.
like she acts everyone off the screen, and she's arguable, and she's third billing
Hmm.
compared to people that are known for being like amazing actors, and she acts them off the screen. She's great in it, and like should
Okay.
be up for an Oscar for it.
Hmm.
But it's just, it was nice to see. It's not nice to watch someone like slowly like getting depressed, but
Yeah.
it's nice to see a movie in 2023 about a topic we don't see much.
Yeah, for sure.
and it's not a fun watch by the end of it,
Hmm.
but it's one I'd really recommend.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't really know what this movie was about, and this is going to sound so unbelievably dumb, but the first time I heard this title, like, a couple weeks ago or something in passing, I thought someone said the Banshees of Ed Sheeran for a second, and I was, I was like, I'm sorry, what? What is this, like a documentary about him? And no, someone said it. I'm assuming in a Sheeran, is that like the location? Is that what that is, or?
Yeah. And I won't spoil like why it's called what it's
Oh,
called.
okay, that's
But
fine.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
fine.
yeah, yeah. It comes up in the movie, but
Okay,
it's
that's fair.
it's certainly one that is going to be up for like the Oscars and
Hmm.
stuff like that. It is an Oscar, not Oscar baity movie, but it's one of those Oscar type movies,
Hmm.
which I don't know
Yeah,
if the director's other movies were, but I don't think he's ever been up for Oscars before.
yeah,
But
Colin Farrell's one of those actors where, like, I don't necessarily seek out his movies, but anytime I see
hmm
him, he usually does a great job. Like, even in The Batman, which came out last year, he was great as the Penguin and, like, almost unrecognizable. And he's even getting the spin-off show now, which I guess I'll probably check that out. But yeah, he's always, like, just kind of a fun guy to watch, at least
I
for
think in the
me.
mid 2000s he kind of got a bad rap as like the not an A list, but like a B list action star because he was
Hmm.
in like that Total Recall reboot
Yep.
and things like that. But when he acts, he acts. He's a good
Yeah,
actor.
it's funny, actually. The other day, randomly, just on YouTube, I got a recommendation. I think it was like Variety or like something like that, where it was like an actors roundtable where they just got a bunch
hmm
of actors to talk to each other for an hour. And like Brendan Fraser was one of them, but then Colin Farrell
hmm
and a couple other people. And I was like, I hadn't really heard Colin Farrell talk about his career before, and so he literally said that he was like, yeah, he self recognizes, like, yeah, I was kind of an asshole and not the best person of that time, and he's like really worked hard to like change that persona over the
Yeah.
years, and I think he has, like, he is a good actor. But it was funny, even he was like, yeah, I was kind of a dick. Kind of thing. Which was kind of funny to
You
hear.
know what though? I appreciate he can recognize that.
Yeah, exactly, like he was super
Yeah.
humble about it, and yeah, it was just funny to watch. But yeah, no, this is definitely one of those movies I've heard of, and I'm sure I would probably like it if I add it to the list and watch it. But yeah, that's interesting.
Okay. I'll
Very
throw it over
nice.
to you then.
All
Number
right.
two.
Number two for me is, and it's actually one I talked about more recently, which is Weird the Al Yankovic story.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, not to completely repeat everything I said. I mean, if you haven't watched that, check out that episode from a couple episodes ago. But I like one of my, I mean, okay, first of all, Weird Al, I just love him. I've always loved him. His music, just he seems like a great dude. Just in general, he's just a good person. But UHF is probably one of my favorite like '80s movies, which is, and that's not a biopic. It's a completely made
hmm
up movie, but that was really the only other movie he's done for the most part, unless I'm forgetting something. And that movie was hilarious and just stupid and goofy. And then this movie, even though it's not, this is more of a biopic, even though it's like a fake biopic, it has a lot of that stupid humor again, which
Yeah.
like the entire time I was cracking up. It's just goofy. It's like that Dewey Cox movie where you just don't take it seriously at all. Daniel Radcliffe, as I've also said, he's just like becoming a favorite actor of mine because he just takes goofy roles and just does whatever he wants. He doesn't need to care anymore about making $1 bajillion. He's set for life, so he just takes weird roles
hmm
at this point, and he's just killing it. And it was funny. The acting was ridiculous. It was over the top. None of it made sense half the time. Like, it was just a goofy movie, and like I'm trying to think, because I think we've also talked about before with comedies in recent years where there's like not a lot of memorable comedies.
No.
It seems to be a genre that like usually has to be infused with something else, but just like a straight goofy comedy.
I think more people used to buy them on DVD as well, and with the market dying.
Yeah.
It's because like you look at like even the big comedies like Knocked Up, Super Bad, like that was the
Hmm.
last big
Hmm.
sort of like one. If you go on Wikipedia, I bet you they didn't even make like $200 million, but everyone had them on DVD.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, the other pro, I guess you could say, of this movie, it's free. You can watch it on Roku,
Yeah,
which was great. So, to be honest, it's kind of a shame that more people haven't watched it because
yeah.
of the fact, like, it's odd. It's
I've
free.
not, yeah, I've not watched it yet because I went to watch it once and it was like, oh, I don't have the Roku. There's no Roku app on my TV.
Hmm.
And then like I started googling like how to watch it on my TV,
Hmm.
and it was like, oh, you need like the laptop, and my wife was using it at the time, and I was like, oh, I can't be bothered right now. And then I've just
Yeah.
never gone back to
Yeah.
try.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I did. I mean, I have a Chromecast, so I got on the laptop and casted it to my TV. But yeah,
yeah,
it's like it sucks because it's a great movie. More people should watch this, even if you're not the biggest Weird Al fan. Like, I still think it's a funny, just goofy movie.
yeah.
But yeah, you kind of have to jump through some hoops to watch it, unfortunately. But yeah, I love this movie. It was great. Uh, yeah, completely recommended. It was wonderful.
Okay.
All right,
You want to do some honorable mentions then?
sure. Yeah, sure.
I'll let you go.
Okay. So some honorable mentions. I have a few. The first one is Terrifier 2.
You the clown killer thing.
Yeah, and even though I'm not normally like a slasher, the biggest, like, I love horror, as I've talked about before. Slasher is like, it's fine. It's just kind of a fun, like, little popcorn flick,
Mm.
Halloween, whatever, nothing crazy. But Terrifier 2 was the most brutal horror movie I've probably ever watched, and the nonstop articles about people vomiting in theaters and getting taken out, that alone was just cracking me up. So, honorable mention for that one for sure. The other one, Jackass Forever, was just a funny movie. Like,
Yeah,
it was that's nothing crazy. It's just Jackass. It was just fun to see them again, and they're still alive, surprisingly. So it was just just another fun movie to watch. Nope from Jordan Peele, I thought was good, but not great. But it was still, to me, it was almost like an extended Twilight Zone episode, essentially, which
yeah.
I love Twilight
Like
Zone. So that's
most of these movies.
yeah, exactly. So I liked it, but I didn't love it. But I thought it was. I think it's still worth watching for sure.
Yeah.
And then the last one I'll say is Bullet Train. That one I watched after you recommended it and we talked about it. And I that's another one of those movies where it's like a fun, goofy kind of comedy, somewhat serious, but I was, yeah, smiling the whole time, and I just had a good time watching it. So
The main honorable mention I can think of is Sonic 2. Because, and
wow.
no, I'm being serious. Because, like, I don't think that's like that shouldn't be in top five, let alone top three.
Wow.
But, it was fun. I had
Hmm.
fun watching that movie.
Hmm.
I came away from it excited for the next one.
Yeah.
Like, it was a genuinely really fun movie. And don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
if like I wrote for a newspaper and they were like, "You got to assign a star rating it for this," I'd probably give it like a 3 out of 5.
Right.
But I
Hmm.
would want to give it more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a kids movie, but obviously it's helping, or adults are going to be interested who have played the games and stuff. So it's a nice mix. But Jim Carrey's just funny to see again, being goofy '90s like era Jim
mhm.
Carrey again. So yeah, I mean, I had a great time watching it as well, for sure.
And I also watched that The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I
That's right.
I I really enjoyed parts of that movie, but it was very tonally all over the place. And I know what they were going for. I just don't think it worked the entire movie,
Hmm.
and it felt a little too long, even though it wasn't that long of a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, as we were talking before we started recording, before we get to number one, so 2022 was a weird year for movies, where it didn't seem like like there were definitely some good ones, but some of it I don't know how often I would watch again. And I think you were also saying like how the number ones this year probably wouldn't even crack like top 5 or 10 any other year, type of thing. So
Hmm.
it was a weird year for movies.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think it was a great year at all. I don't even
Hmm.
think it was a good year. At best, it was an okay one.
Hmm.
And that's not just for movies. I think that for video games as well.
Yeah.
I think just media in general is a pretty weak year.
Yeah, like there were some stuff that yeah, it's tough because there was definitely some good stuff, but I'm trying to think. like even the movies we talked about so far, even though I enjoyed them, it's probably going to be a while before I rewatch them. It's not something I'm
Mhm.
like dying to rewatch immediately type of thing.
Yeah.
But as you also know, one of the other things I've been doing for the last, I don't know, 5, 6 months at this point is catching up on decades worth of old movies that I never got around to watching. So if I could include those, this would be a very different list. But I've been watching movies like just random franchises and one-off movies that I just never got around to seeing. Like just yesterday, I watched Forrest Gump for the first time. That was an interesting experience. Uh,
Great
there was some
movie.
weird.
That's a great movie.
No. It was good, but like, man, there was just some weird shit in that movie right in the opening scenes that like it just like surprised me. But so I've been having a fun time going back and revisiting some classics for a while. But maybe I'll talk about those a different time. But yeah, 2022 was a weird year for sure. All
Okay.
right, so turn it back over to you for your number one.
So, my number one movie of the year is
Wait, can
Bullet Train.
I? Okay, all right. All right,
You were expecting that, weren't you?
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Go ahead.
I know you include it in your honourable mentions and whatnot, but
Yeah,
that was the most fun movie. It felt like when I was watching it, everyone on screen was having fun,
yeah,
everyone in the theatre was having fun, everyone was along for the ride, right?
yeah.
And
No pun intended.
yeah, there was no pun intended. Um, I don't understand why it got the reviews it did.
Yeah,
It got
because I was after you talked about it too. I looked it up as well, and yeah, they were all fairly mediocre. Like,
yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a great movie. Great movie. Is it the best movie? No, it's not like Citizen Kane or anything like
Right.
that. But it was the most fun and enjoyable movie I watched last year.
Mm-hmm.
I'd definitely recommend it to everyone, like
Mm-hmm.
your mum, your dad, your brother, your sister, like
Yeah.
whoever. You can watch this with your partner, whatever. Everyone's going to enjoy Bullet Train. I think it is done fun.
Mm-hmm.
Lemon and Tangerine.
Yeah.
I want them to have their own spin-off series. Like I feel like the
Mm-hmm.
Fast and Furious movies started spinning off movies and give them a whole trilogy of them just going around the world doing jobs, like
Yeah.
Ocean's 11 style. Like I would watch that for 10 years.
Yeah, them just talking about fucking Thomas the Tank Engine for some odd reason, just something
Yeah,
stupid like that. Yeah, they were definitely cracking me up the entire time. But like Brad Pitt, obviously, does a great job.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the setting obviously was fun. You know, Tokyo neon lights or whatever. But like, yeah, they were all just clearly having a good time, and it was one of those blockbusters of like I could very much out of everything I probably have mentioned so far, I would probably rewatch this one the most. I would say,
Hmm.
yeah, I had a good time watching it for sure.
Yeah, it was even like action scenes in this day and age are pretty boring.
Hmm.
Like because we've seen everything all before now. Like a fist fight nowadays in a movie ain't that exciting.
Yeah.
But it was like the music choices like just
Hmm.
crack you up. Like it
Yeah.
makes it funny.
Yeah. I was not. I won't spoil it, but I was not expecting the person they fight to be the actor that they chose of like
Yeah,
the main
that was
bad
just
guy.
funny as well.
Well, yeah, and then he pulls it off. I love that actor. He's becoming also not necessarily favorite. Like I always need to see his stuff, but anytime I see that actor, I'm like,
It's
okay,
enjoyable.
yeah, he does a good job. I really like him.
Yeah,
So that was unexpected, but yeah, and then it was kind of nice how it is kind of not completely a mystery per se, but they all do sort of intertwine the stories with each other,
hmm
and
yeah.
you
It's
know you
well
sort of
written
learn.
as well. Everything gets set up, and there's a payoff
Mm.
for it. Which when I've watched like movies from the '80s recently, you sort of forget that movies used to do that. Like you watch.
Have good story
It's true.
structure.
Yeah, but it's true. You watch like Back to the Future, and
Yeah,
everything in that movie is like set up in the first 10 to 15 minutes,
yeah, hmm,
right? All the clues are there, and you
right,
know it. It's not even in your face about it all the time. There's like little hints here and there, but
yeah,
it
yeah.
pays off later in the story. And most movies don't do that now. They have a twist 3/4 of the way through that no one saw coming because the writer obviously thought of it 3/4 of the way through.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this movie was fun. I don't I'm assuming they haven't said anything about a sequel or spin-off or anything
I
like that
don't
so
think. Well,
far.
what's it going to be called? Subway Train.
Taxi,
Yeah,
somehow. It would be nice to somehow, whether it's a spin-off of those two characters or maybe the main characters. Who knows? I think I would like to see something else with this. I'm not like it doesn't have to be, but I think I would enjoy it for sure.
yeah.
But
Okay,
but
okay.
yes, definitely check it out. I think it is on Netflix now as well, so definitely. All right, number one for me is probably going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once.
So I
So
watched this about 3 days ago.
okay, all
Yeah.
right. So really quickly, because I'm curious what you think about it. I guess I did enjoy this movie quite a bit because it was a sci-fi movie, but very comedic, but also drama as well. And it was in the last few years, there's been multiverse everything. And
Hmm.
this was another one of those where I'm like, okay, I think that fad is getting annoying, but I will say with this one, they at least did it in a unusual, funny, and meaningful way, I would think, which was nice to see. I still think that I'm done with multiverse. Like, this shit needs to stop. Like, I don't need any more of this,
It's like
but
what Zombies was 10 years ago.
yeah, exactly. But it was nice just to see a random, A24 movie about multiverse that and the thing is, when I saw the trailer and like the poster for it originally, I didn't completely understand that that was the case. Or maybe I
Hmm.
just watched a teaser, not the full trailer. So it did kind of surprise me a little bit. But like I said, I did enjoy it. But all right, before I continue, yeah, what do you think?
I thought it was all right.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
fair.
I've seen this like people are like even touting it might win an Oscar and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't know about that.
Mm-hmm.
But I watch it. I enjoyed it. It is way too long.
I will give you that. Yes,
That
yes.
because we put it on, and I don't think this is a spoiler to say, but there's a point in the movie where it says chapter 2,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And we like look at each other and we're like, what the fuck? And like we're like, how long's left? So we like press the button to see,
yeah.
and it says like 50 minutes is left. And we're
Uh-huh.
like, this movie feels like it's ending though. Like what the
Right.
fuck? So yeah,
Hmm.
it goes on way too long. I I enjoyed it. I just don't think it's as amazing as people were making out.
Sure. Hmm.
And I know it's your number one movie of the
No,
year.
no, dude,
Yeah,
I don't give a shit. Say whatever you
yeah,
want.
but
That
like,
doesn't matter.
yeah, it was humorous. I don't think anything made me like howl with laughter.
Yeah.
I think some of the humor was a little too silly, which is weird because like
Okay.
Naked Gun's one of my favorite like comedies.
But maybe in context of what it's trying to
Yeah,
be, though. Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
get it.
yeah. It didn't fit at times with the tone that the movie had set.
Hmm.
Um, that was it. It felt a little tonally all over the place at times. I thought
Sure.
some of the stuff was funny, like when they go to like the hot dog dimension thing,
Yeah. Hmm.
but I don't think they needed to go back to it 20 times.
Yeah, this movie felt like it had four endings. Like
Yeah,
it had the emotional swells and the upbeats, and you're like, "Oh, this is where the credits are gonna roll." Oh shit, there's 20 more minutes left.
I won't spoil the ending, but it feels like they're walking up a flight of stairs for 20 minutes.
Yes, exactly. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and there was some like there's some stuff I really liked about this movie. I liked
Sure.
like how shitty some of like the gadgets were.
Yeah. Hmm.
Like, is it not James Caan? What's the name of? What's the
Jamie
name
Lee
of?
Curtis.
No, no, not James Caan. The dad.
Oh, Ki Hugh Kwan,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
who's becoming back again recently. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, James
But like,
Caan.
but like he comes in on his wheelchair and it's just got like random appliances attached
Yeah.
to it. You know,
Hmm.
like stuff like that I found funny and I thought it was good. And I thought
Yeah.
like that set the tone well for certain stuff. And like where
Hmm.
he's like wearing a mech suit that's just like got a toaster on the shoulder for
Right.
some reason.
Hmm.
I enjoyed stuff like that, but that was it. It was the stuff that I don't think they intended to be as funny as it was. I found the funniest, like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the jokes they were trying to like really slam down your throat, like hot dogs and stuff like that, I was a bit
Yeah.
like, okay, it was somewhat humorous. There's no need to keep going back to it. And
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
spoiling it, like the bagel. was like funny at first, but then like they told that joke 5 times.
This movie, I think, could have used another like independent editor.
Yeah.
If they cut out at various parts to reduce the time maybe by 20 to 30 minutes, I think this could have been a perfectly like tight, good movie.
Yeah.
And I think for me, the reason why I'm still putting it at number, like everything you said is totally fair. I agree with everything you're saying. I think the reason why I'm still putting it at number one is I haven't quite seen anything like this before. Whereas, like with
Hmm.
Top Gun, like I've seen Top Gun before. It's not like, don't get me wrong, it made me smile and it was great, like we talked about. But it's just another action like Top Gun movie. This
Hmm.
movie, even though like I said, we've seen multiverse stuff recently, I still think this was a unique take on it where it was memorable to me even if everything didn't land perfectly. I think it was still interesting enough and different
Yeah.
where it rises to the top for me. And then also the actors I just happen to like Michelle Yeoh, Ki Kwan, Jamie Lee Curtis. So it was just like a fun cast to see for me personally as well.
I think the cinematography on this was one of the best I've seen in years.
Yeah. Uh huh. Oh yeah.
There's one part where they're just fighting and it keeps going the different dimensions, and
Hmm.
it's shot so well,
Yeah.
so
Exactly.
well. That for sure is something that I think like it should maybe get an Oscar for.
Hmm.
Um, I really, really want to love the movie. I came out of it a bit
Yeah.
like middle of the road. I can
Sure.
understand why people love it. Like it, maybe if it hit me on a different day when I was in a different
Yeah.
mood, maybe I would have loved it more.
Sure.
I, it's frustrating. It's one of those we've talked about this with like games and movies before, but it's one of those ones you want to love more than you do.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I
Yeah.
felt.
No, it's totally fair. All this stuff is obviously subjective.
Yeah,
And as we also said, on a different year, this may have not even cracked the top three or four or whatever. I think it was like I said, it was different enough that it's memorable to me. And even if I don't watch it again for a long time, there are aspects of it that are still going to stick with me. And I would rather see something new and not stick the landing than
oh yeah,
something I've
yeah,
seen a
yeah.
thousand times, again as well. So I guess I'm partially giving it credit not just for the movie itself, but like the story itself, but like what it's trying to do as well, which
Yeah,
was nice.
if you said, "Oh, you can go see the next movie these directors make," or you can go and
Yeah,
see 4 or 5, I'm gonna be more excited to see their next
yeah,
film as
exactly,
well. Yeah,
exactly. Um, but yeah, so definitely check it out if you can. I'm sure it's streaming somewhere at this point, um, but yeah, there's also other movies that at least I just didn't get to that I want to watch.
yeah,
Like I want to watch The Whale that came out.
yeah.
That I'm sure I'll see that. I still haven't seen Avatar 2. Is there any other movies that came out that you're saying you
I
still
want
wanted to
to.
watch?
We spoke about it earlier. I want to see the menu.
Yeah, The
I want
Menu.
to. Yeah, I want to see the Fableman still.
Fablemans. Yep.
Yeah,
There's one Bollywood movie called RRR that I want to watch. I forgot that was another one. Okay, so it's on Netflix. It's like a 3 hour, like mega Bollywood epic that apparently is like incredible. And I've seen like a Bollywood movie here or there over the years, but apparently this one is like insane. So I want to check that one out too.
yeah. I've
Seemed
never watched
interesting.
a Bollywood movie.
It's lots of dancing and intricate sets. That's what I see.
I've always seen those like YouTube compilations where it's like the wackiest things in like
Yeah.
Bollywood movies and stuff. Yeah,
Apparently that's what this is, so I'll watch it eventually, I'm sure. But
yeah,
yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that I still need to get to as well. But hopefully, 2023, there's definitely a lot of sequels coming out this year. So
yeah.
hopefully we'll get some other not sequel movies as
We'll
well.
play a
So
lot of games instead. How about that?
that's true. There's a lot of games coming out. I still need to catch up on other games too. But yeah, this year actually is looking up to be pretty good for entertainment. Hopefully, so we'll see how it goes.
We'll see, and we're shit on it all. Stay tuned.
Can't wait. Stay tuned for more. But with that, yeah, let us know what you think. If any of these movies were in your top three, or if there's other ones that we missed, we'd love to debate them down below and tell you why you're wrong. No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
And
Let us
if
know
you
what you
don't
think.
agree with us, we'll block you.
Yeah, exactly. Permanently, you're out
Yeah.
of the club. But yeah, so with that, make sure you subscribe here and let us know what you think. And until next time, we'll talk to you then. Take it easy.
Bye.